I'm re-recording this and I'm mad. I didn't know I was low on space on my phone. So, back when I was about 15 or 16, I used to love hanging out with friends a lot. I used to love, by the way, I'm laying down and the lighting isn't very good in here, so it looks like it's pitch black when there is light on the other half of the room, but I don't really feel like getting up. So, mostly because the blanket I'm laying under is really nice, and I'm comfortable. Deal with it. Um, so yeah, I was about 15 or 16. I had a very small circle of friends, and they had like distant friends within that circle, so it was kind of intervaled. And I would see the others on occasion, and one of the very few occasions that I saw, the man invited us to go to a party, and we were like, "All right, cool." So when we get the details, we find out this party's at least a couple towns over. It's about like a 20 to 30 mile distance, and we were told though that we'd have a ride there and back. So we're like, okay, well I guess that works. We go we go hang out there for a while, and then we go to the party, the usual party, except it was only like maybe 15 people. It was neat though. It was kind of neat because I don't know. I saw different people that I don't think I'll ever meet again that were actually pretty cool. That's usually how it seems to go, except like it was such an eclectic group because in the kitchen there was like gambling ghetto people, and then in the back area there was like skater boy stoners, and then in the main area there was like the I guess the popular group of the area, but they didn't look like average popular kids with like like the name brand styles and whatever, like beanies and all that crap. They were just like it was such a more hick-esque town that they kind of blended between the lines, but were still like the popular cool kids, at least from what it looked like, from what I gathered. And so we get annihilated on whatever was available there, as long as it wasn't super heavy. Obviously, I don't fuck with that. But go back, end up playing Mario Kart from like 12 a.m. to 3 or 4 in the morning. Had a lot of fun. Rainbow Road is a lot better when you can't see straight. And so I think it was about like 4:30 or so, and I was playing, and then I looked. It was like the top right screen wasn't even going, so I paused the game and I look over, and one of the dudes was passed right out. So I was like, I think it's just time to call this a night, and then so we all just kind of shut everything off, and then went to go clock out. But there was only like two or three couches, and there was like four or five people, so I think one or two people had to double up, and then one guy ended up getting with some chick though, and so he was in his bedroom, so there was that much less space taken up. So, or no, a couple people slept on the floor. It was a concrete floor though, so people had to really rock paper scissors and pick it out. Well, I immediately just laid on the couch and passed the fuck out. I was not moving. And so, get to the next morning. We wake up surprisingly early, maybe like 9 or 10 in the morning. And this town is tiny. This town is like maybe a full mile tops. And so we didn't really know what to do, since all the parties esque things were over. We just kind of decided to explore the town and to see where it goes. Got nowhere. Found out that there was a gas station though, which was good because we go to sit down back at the dude's house. It's locked. Dude was gone. Figured we had left like for good since we weren't even from that town or anywhere near it. And so we talked to the guy about who was going to be able to give us the ride back, and he says, well, they were the ride back, and we're like, what? And I think only one or two of us had a phone, and we didn't have the dude's number. I'm not sure exactly how all of it got set up to go to the party. I think it was like an invite from an invite. like a person I know that knows somebody kind of business. And so we spend the next, I think it was like hour debating on what to do, and then we start trying to make calls, and nobody was answering, and we had to make it back. And I think it was like it's like mid July, so it was like dead of summer. It is hot, and we are already sweating and burning because of the fact that like we had nowhere else to go. So we decided to say fuck it and walk along the highway for I was at least 9 miles to the next town. So we spent a good, I'd say like 7 hours just burning alive and walking and walking. And I had never known that in those moments, the lightest breeze is like a gift. But I mean, after about like 3 hours, you kind of get used to. It was about 90 degrees or say 80, 90 degrees that day. It wasn't like super hot, but it was up there. And we had been smart though. Before we left, we went to the gas station since usually water cups are free, and ended up getting the nice fat cup of water. And then it was gone within the first mile. Oh yeah, I had partaken in a beef stick that was totally free, and yeah, split that into thirds so we had some sort of nutrition to go on, so we're not running on a complete empty stomach with just water. And then I think we got about 6.5 miles or so in, and there's a house after the longest time of seeing nothing and finding, I think it was some brass duck's head that we kind of just assumed was a part of a cane, and I carried it with me for a while. I was going to keep it like a memento, but I got frustrated because I was so tired that I threw it. And then I was like, I don't care. It was like we were all like almost delusional from the fact that we weren't not even close to prepared for this. And so we see this house. It's a nice big house too. Um, we go knocking on the door. Um, Guy was real confused. He was like, "You're lucky I didn't grab a gun," like typical out in the countryside. And we are like, "We just need some water." We're walking and we would like water, and he was like, "I guess so," or something like that. I can't remember exactly what he said, but thankfully he gave us the water, and then we kept moving. And we get about 7.5 miles in, and then one of the dude's grandmothers shows up to pick up him. I cannot remember why, but we could not go with him. I think he partially just didn't want to get in trouble with being with other people. Like, I think he had some other subplot to tell his grandmother to come get him without him getting in serious trouble. So me and the other guy, it was walking, I think up until about 8.5 miles. We saw the city, like "Welcome to the city" sign, and but it was still like barren because this was like way out in the country area. And then out of nowhere, I cannot remember how the connection was made to get a hold. I think she had seen the leftover messages. Um, my friend that was still with me's mother had, I guess, like finally woken up and seen all the messages and pulled up by the Metamora area and got us. And we had never been so thankful because after that it was another city, and then I think maybe another one. So we had a pretty good chunk of distance to go. And like to this day, I don't trust the man that said that he would have a ride there and back, because even after that, he was so shifty. But I guess moral of the story, um, even if they're someone else's closest friend that's a close friend to you, if your close friend has a close friend, doesn't mean you should trust that close friend. And also, when you get used to the heat, it's not that bad. It's really not that bad. Yeah. Bye.